Who inspires you and why? I don't know if there are specific people who inspire me, like names that come to mind. I think that generally now it's watching a moment happen on stage and being like, oh, wow, that was so cool. I really want to try that myself. I want to try doing that myself. I want to be that confident. I want to take my time with that kind of thing. There's one particular improviser who, there's this game that we play, and the idea is to like debate about a particular topic, and so each person sort of rushes forward and says their thing, and then they try to cram in like and raise their hand and go, hey, this person didn't say this about that, and then they rush and they go really fast. But there was this one improviser who would come out and completely take her time, and she would just slowly walk up to the stage, and then she would just really take her time, like getting to the point. And it was so funny because it's so unlike how everyone else played it that it like stuck with me of like, oh my God, yeah, that's so right. You don't have to play the game how everyone else is playing it. You can play it in your own way, and that's actually maybe just as exciting or more exciting than how other people do it. I've seen some people in stand-up, they did crowd work in a way that I was just completely mesmerized by, because I watched them do crowd work for an entire set, and then I watched them do a second set afterwards with a whole new set of people, and they did an entirely new set of jokes with an entirely new set of people, and it was just mesmerizing to watch like somebody be that good at what they're doing. Same with like musical improv. I don't feel particularly great at musical improv, but watching like my own spouse who does musical improv and watching my own friends who do musical improv has like inspired me to, for instance, take on musical improv workshops, because I'm like, I want to strive to be better. I want to not be afraid to do it, but also if I could ever do a fraction of what they do, that would be something to aspire to. And I think that that's a lot of what inspires me, is just seeing how someone does something, take on a big character, act subtle, be supportive, and go in my own head like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that more, and how can I do that more? And so that person maybe acts as an inspiration for me of, okay, Kelly, the next time you're in a scene, be supportive. The next time you're in a scene, try doing a song. The next time you're doing this game, slow it down instead of matching the speed of everybody else, or purposely biff a pun joke just for the fun of it, because it's just as fun to watch someone fail at something as it is to watch them succeed. Let's see, what else would you like people to know? If people don't know already, I think that improv is really beautiful. I came from stand-up, came from acting, and I had the same cultural bias about improv that I think other people do, which is that it's maybe not great, or it's a lot of self-indulgence. There's certainly a lot of sitcoms that involve improv where you are watching bad improv. But from my experience from doing it, improv is really incredible. You get to know people on some really deep levels. You get to watch them really tap into their strengths. You get to understand some of their weaknesses. And the weaknesses aren't there to be like exploited. They're there for you to help support them. It's, you walk into a scene and you see your improviser partners and you're like, okay, I know you, I know what you need to succeed, and I'm gonna start thinking about how I can help you in the process of doing this set that will just lift you up and make you a stronger person. And they're thinking about the same thing for you. And then not only that, but like some of the amazing sketches, like some of the amazing like improvised scenes that end up happening that are just off the cuff and people tapping into their strengths and being the best version of themselves, the funniest version of themselves, and creating these like elaborate stories that also end up having these wonderful little bows that, you know, are that the whole thing is wrapped up into. And the therapy that I talked about before, where you're learning more about yourself as you're doing it and how to better yourself as you're doing it, pushing yourself out of comfort zones to take on these like larger challenges that are intertwined throughout improv. And then, I mean, also, obviously, giving people like a good time. Like it feels really nice to come up with something off the cuff, feel good about it with you and your other scene partners, but then especially when you go out into the crowd afterwards and they're like, that was such a great show, or I loved that, or, you know, you bring a person on stage and you make an entire scene about their life, and then in real time they're getting to see their life like have little joke moments and see it all like come through. And the way that has like changed people, like the amount of thank yous I've gotten from people who are like, you nailed me, or like you completely like, you know, became like my daughter or something on stage, and like it was perfect. And that person gets to go home and talk about it, and that just feels really incredible. There's nothing really quite like it. Where you can see me do improv. You can see me do improv at Curious Comedy Theater for Showdown. I'm not in every Showdown, although get in the comments, and maybe I will be. But I'm sometimes on Friday, sometimes on Saturday, sometimes I skip a week, but I'm in the show. And then I'm also in Gauntlet. I'm in every one of those. So you can show up to those every other Sunday and watch me perform or direct or host. I also frequent Friday Night Fights. That's a schedule that I have no control over. But I have teams like Writer Strike and I'm Baby. And I also frequent jams and stuff. You can also catch me doing stand-up around Portland. That's me. I'm Kelly Thomas, and I am now vamping until I find a good end.